here, and hopefully you can it'll help you kind of develop your own solution if this is. So these are the different kinds of keychains options that I've tried, and yeah, I'm just gonna go through what I found was deficient or my experiences, and you know, like I said, hopefully this will help you out in your daily life, because it's the little things every day that really affect our productivity. So I'm truly hoping this helps you out. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and cover the differences. And here's my my mannequin. You know, it's legless, but you know, you get the idea. So this is kind of like a proper working man's pants or shorts. You know, so it's you know, you got nice wide belt loops, keychain hold, you know, keychain loop, things like that. So this is kind of like what us working men, blue collar workers here, you know, wear every day. And so I'm going to give you an example of. So I'm going to just show you the pluses and minuses of the different ones I've tried. Right. So this one here. So this is kind of your standard. It's great. It's super quick. You could go in on a, you know, on a D-ring. You know, proper work pants will have a D-ring or something to hold tools and keys. You know, you can put it right on the belt. You can put it on shorts. But you know, the biggest drawback is the fact that this will slide off. I mean, you could just do that. So no matter where you put it, you can lose your whole stash of keys. So it's just real loose. It's quick, but it's real loose. So I like how quick it is, but you're gonna lose your keys. I've lost keys. I've lost them down drains. I'm talking like sewer drains, yeah, things like that. Just walk in and then you just kind of bump it with your hand and it just comes off into the drain you go. So that's you know, why I don't use them, right? And then you got you know, these, you know, usually made out of steel or aluminum, and they work okay, right? But the problem with them is that this is real strong. So this is really strong, but the spring inside here is really weak. It's just a small spring that's just basically, you know, bent into a circle, and it's just a really small spring that's inserted in here, right? And so it doesn't get a lot of spring tension, and it will wear out real quick if you use it every day. Like these are designed more like to occasionally be open and closed. They're not designed for continuous opening and closing like you would on a daily use, you know, EDC type situation. Especially with keys, you're going to be taking them on and off all the time. Also, the shape of this is not conducive to being very flexible in where you put things, right? So it works great if you have a D-ring, you know, but it's hard to get them in here and get them out. So it doesn't look that hard doing it from here, you know, with this, you know, if you're wearing these shorts, this would be a pain for you to like clip all the way through and then just clip it back out. Like the shape of this will force you to really go through a lot of motion to try to make it clear the loop. It'll catch. So it's not conducive at all. This one's a little better because you got more of an opening there, see, and you can just go out this way versus this. See where you see it wanting to catch, and then when you take it out, you got to like really be careful and go this way, otherwise it just catches. So that's really the disadvantage, is the fact that, for one, the gates, this gate, the way it's attached, will start to get loose, and it'll not close all the way, and that's going to cause issues with retention, and it's going to just basically eventually just get to the point where it's just not going to close at all very well. So material wise, it's heavy duty, but as far as durability for opening and closing, it's not very good. And it's also the spring is not designed for repeated daily opening and closing. So that's the bad part about these, right? So the next one is a little better. You know, you see these a lot in Walmart and stuff like that, the night eyes type, and they do work better, but the spring is weak. So they're better than the ones I just showed you, but it is still weak, and the sizes that they have are also small, and even if they're bigger, this spring is the same is the same thickness from what I've noticed. So it's actually, the bigger it is, the weaker that spring seems, because you got longer length, and so that spring opens up real easily. And also the edges here are sharp enough to where they will eventually cut through your clothes. And so you know, we don't want to go through a whole bunch of work clothes or any clothes just because, you know, we're trying to keep our keys on. So that's the other issue, right? And they're usually the ones for keys are usually too small. So once again, you got to go in like this, and then you got to tweak your hand all the way. So it's not just an easy in and out. Yeah. So once again, it's to make them flat and cool looking, but the edges are a little too sharp. And also, I'll show you the advantage of having this area here in the bends rounded. So it doesn't have rounded edges on the bend, and I'll show you the advantage of that in a little bit. And then this is one of my other favorite ones. It's nice to be able to have your keys in through here, you know. So if you just wanted to keep a key in there, let's say that's a key ring, and that keeps the keys from coming out this way, so you don't have to drill it like I did here. You don't have to really drill this, but I'll show you why I drilled these holes, and I went with this versus this. Yeah, so I'll show you in a bit. And then I will also show you why I went with this particular size. Okay, so I prefer this size of carabiner. So basically the ratings converted to pounds, according to Google, which is always right, is 2,600 pounds. So that's a ton, over a ton, right? A ton capacity. But you know, I mean, since they're like cheap Chinese stuff, even if they were half of that rating, I've never tested them, but they've never failed, and I've used them to tie down some pretty heavy stuff. So even if they're half of that, let's say, you know, 1,000 pounds, that's still more than what you need for a keyring holder, and what I use these for their other uses. So that's more enough. I mean, I've used my keys, the one that holds my keys. I've used this one, the one that holds my keys, and it's got all these holes drilled into it, right? And just use a 3/16 inch drill, and you just drill where you would like the keys to be spread out as. I've used this to hold me up on my hammock, you know, so I'm usually like 180, and that holds me just fine. So even weakened by drilling, it's never failed. And this thing's, like I said, 10 years old. So yeah, it's supposed to be, you know, 2,600 pounds capacity, but like I said, half of that, it's still more than enough for what I would use it for. So this one is this one's my favorite size, because if you look, this is the one I'm currently using, but this is actually one of my favorite size carabiners, and I like this particular brand because the opening is a little wider. So I don't know if you can see that, it is wider, and just even a 1/16 of an inch, 1/8 of an inch makes a big difference. So that does make a big difference. And then I also like this one because it does have a bigger surface area at the bends, a rounded surface area right here at the bends, and I'll show you why that's important. I like this one because I like how it's got these little dimples, and I just use them to drill into. So if you look at mine, yeah, it just helped me have a spot to drill in there, you know, semi-symmetrically, right? So just spaced them out right into where the dimples are. So I do like that. I mean, it looks cooler. Not that I really care that much, but if I were to replace this, I would probably just use this one. Yeah, this one is roughly the same size. Yeah, they're roughly the same size, and except for it's got a wider gap, a wider gape, I guess they might call it, up there, and it's straighter. I like that because it makes taking them in and out, like from a belt loop, just go like that, see? And then you just go like that, right? So you just go straight motion, right? Versus if you had this, you gotta open it up, put it in here, and then close it. And the worst part is taking it out. You gotta open it up, turn it this way, and you got a bunch of keys on there, so remember they're all gonna catch, right? And then you gotta pull it out this way. And so you got a bunch of keys that's kind of gathering this material and making it stuck in here, right? So because you want to be able to like get to your keys without licking or doing too much manipulation, because it's all about efficiency, right? So every minute that we spend fiddling around with daily use things, it cuts in on our efficiency, and it messes with your mind flow. You know, when you're in a working flow state, you don't want to be here like trying to figure out, oh, I'm trying to, I got to put my keys away because I got to grab these two tools, and then you're like fiddling around, and you're going like this, right? And then you're like, then you got to put it in all the way and like that, and then now you got to go drive the excavator. Then you got to take this out, and you're like going, you're basically just fighting with the geometry of this. Whereas something like this, it's just straight in and straight out. Just go like that, and it's secure, and like that, and it's secure. And if you don't have a belt loop, let's say you decided to wear, just another pair of work clothes because yours was dirty and you just wore regular pants, or you wore sweats or whatever, and you don't have anything to clip onto, you can just clip it onto the material. See, and it doesn't come off. It doesn't, because of this hook. And if you look through there, the hook is rounded off, so there's nothing that tears your clothes. So if this was like sweats or anything, you just go like that. So on mine, for example, I will just, because I got a lot of keys, I will actually just clip it to my sweats and my underwear, and that makes it keeps it from pulling it down. So I mean, if your buddies are smart Alex, they're going to use this to pull, to moon people with it. But basically, if you put it on your sweats and your underwear, it keeps your waistband from flopping over. But it's secure, and it doesn't come out. Look, see, it doesn't come out either way. But to get it out, you just go like that, right? So to get it in, you just basically like this, right? And that's it. So let's say you don't want to put it here, and you just have your shirt. You can just basically go like this. See, look, I can do this. It doesn't come off. Okay, so it doesn't come off. You don't need loops. You don't need anything. Whatever you clip it to, whatever piece of clothing you clip it to, it stays on. Okay, so okay. All right, so you might be thinking, why would you drill into this instead of just put all the key rings into here? That'd be nice and tidy, and you can take them off when you want to. The primary reason is, my Mongol way of thinking is always multiple uses for one item, right? So by using this and putting the key rings on the outside, I keep this useful area of a carabiner completely open. And that allows me to do multiple things with this without having to worry about damaging this area or this area getting caught in the use that I'm using it for, right? So this does work good for I think for your average person that's not working every day with multiple keys or is using it for outdoors and just heavy duty stuff. Like this is great because it does give you the option to just clip onto there. It doesn't come off. If that was a shorts or sweats, that works great. You could hook it onto there. You see it doesn't come off. It works the same way as this. So yeah, this works the same way, right? So it doesn't come off. You don't need belts. You don't need loops. And yeah, the other thing about this big gape here is you can just put it on your belt like this. It doesn't have to clip in. Like let's say you're just like, you climb into the excavator, and you're going to be taking it off. You're only going to be in the excavator for like a minute, and you need both hands, of course. So you just stick it right there, because you got your pocket's full of tools, right? So you stick it right there, just like that, and it just hooks there. So as long as you're not climbing or anything, if you just need a place to just put this, out of the way so that it doesn't drop in the dirt or on the floor. And then you could just easily just clip it onto your belt. You know, it just hooks onto your belt. It doesn't really clip in, but it just hooks onto it, you know. So if you need it to hook onto your belt, you can. You know, you can just go like this, okay? So it's not like it can't, but it doesn't need to, right? So that works just fine. Okay. Yeah. So once again, I would normally just put this on a belt loop. And one thing you want to do in the process is to always put this on one side. Always remember, if you're going to put it on your right side, do it all the time. You always do it all the time, so that way your body and your mind is familiar with the weight. And when you're, for example, going to grab a tool, you know you'll grab it with the hand that's not going to be grabbing for the keys, right? So you would always, if you can put it on your right, always know it's on the right. That way when you go and grab something heavy, and you know you're gonna like get into your truck, for example, you're gonna grab with this and you're gonna just, you know, go ahead and activate your remote, you know, open the door, throw your tools in, and then grab this, and you're ready to go, right? So you want to basically establish habits so that your mind and your body's always familiar with which side the keys are supposed to be and how it feels as they're dangling. And so eventually you'll never forget, because your mind and your body's gonna be like, hey, something feels off there. There's not that weight there. There's not that, you know, that dangling sensation. So part of it's training your mentality and your habits, your daily habits, to make you more efficient. So, and that's part of it. But this is to help you establish that. Okay, so we got that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and show you why I like this. I like this larger rounded portion. So once again, this is my older one, and this is the new one that I prefer to use. And so you can see right here, right in here, the throat area of the bend, it's more rounded, it's flared out, and I'll show you, because I use this one for camping a lot, but I will eventually make a key holder like this one with this, because I do really like this. Even though this one's worked fine, because it does have a rounded area and it is wider up there. This is even wider, so this one works really good. Like I used it camping and stuff, so this is great. So I'm going to show you why I like this, because once again, you know, the Mongol way is always multiple uses for one item and maximum efficiency. Okay, so let's say you're out camping, and you don't want to just put your supplies or your bag of food on the ground. You know, there's squirrels or whatever, and you want to just hang it up on a tree. This can be used as a pulley. So let's go over here. We're going to pretend this is a branch, and we're going to use it to hang our clothes hang our food or an item we don't want touching the ground. You know, whether it's to keep it from animals getting into it. You know, you got a bag of chips and you don't want the ground squirrels to be getting into it. You throw this over the branch, or you know, maybe bears, right? Okay. And I'm just going to step away from the camera, because this is kind of what you would do, right? You throw a rope over the branch, and then you know the branch is going to have bark, and it's going to be irregularly shaped. Like you can't really pull this with weight, because it would just catch on the edges. But you face the same thing with the you know with a tree with you know bark or branches or irregular surfaces. So that's what you would do. So it would be the same. So you normally would go throw that over. So you got your bag of supplies or food, and you just want to get it out of the way, but you also want to be able to get to it quickly. And then now you have it's almost as smooth as a pulley. So this is just paracord, and it just glides smoothly. Like, it's very easy. And you get that out of harm's way, or you know, away from the animals or whatever. And then you would just tie it off to a rock or another part of the tree, and you can easily get to it. Wherever you tie it off, it's going to be easily accessible, right? So now you got that. Okay, so that's where it is. So easy to get to. That's safe, and that works great for positioning shade shelters and for positioning. Well, this queuing system is okay. Let's say you're going to the airport. You got your carry-on. It's at the max 50 pounds or 25 pounds or whatever it is. It's heavy, right? So you need to. Now you're in a hurry. You got your keys. You want your keys with you, right? So you got your keys. You just got done with the with the TSA check, and you got your 25-pound bag of expensive stuff in here. You put it, and then your clip fails, right? Your clip fails. So now you're scrambling. So all you gotta do is you get your carabiner. That's all. Got your keys that you keep with you all the time anyway, and then you just tip it in there, and you're good to go. So you're set. So key holder, carabiner, also pulley system. That's already 3 things, right? And then for convenience, like when I go, especially if I go kayaking and stuff, I don't keep my stuff, my keys here, because it'll get my remote get wet. I'll get my remote wet, and I don't. Even if I'm just hiking, I don't keep this here because it jangles when I walk, and I like to observe animals and just enjoy the silence of nature. So I'll take my keys. So instead of just throwing them in here with 10 days worth of stuff, I just do that, and then I just go ahead and just clip it right into the easily accessible spot. So I'm never burying my keys as I go through the days of camping. And we've all been there, right, where we just throw something in there and you gotta basically just dump this whole thing out. So I'm all about efficiency, and I get frustrated when I do stuff like that. So for my own sanity, I want to make sure the real important stuff is right here. So I just clip it right there, and no matter what, no matter how much I remember to do here, it's always right at that top spot. So that's really important to me as far as my mentality and being efficient. And then yeah, so that's highly important for that. So, and then the other thing that I like to add onto my carabiner key holder is this particular addition, right? So this is just a titanium clip, and the spring is within its own body. So if you look, well, I guess what I mean here is, if you look right there, it's basically just CNC'd out right here. So you kind of see the light through there. Yeah, so there's no spring to wear out. It's using its own titanium body, and it holds a magnet, and it holds washers. I'll usually have 2 or 3 washers. The ones that I use a lot at work, where I'm always looking for this particular washer. So I stick it on there. So basically, it just allows me to have on hand, the stuff I'm always reaching for, and it is these heavy duty washers that I keep. I won't put so much stuff on there because having too much weight on your keychain is bad for your rig. If you don't want to wear out your ignition. The key ignition. So this is actually, it looks like a lot, but it's actually not too heavy. These rings are all titanium. It makes a difference. If you want to lighten up your key system, make all the rings and everything else titanium. So this carabiner is aluminum. The spring is stainless steel, and all these rings are titanium. Okay, so just get titanium rings. And then so I got this magnet because and the reason I do that is, for example, I'm just gonna say this is screw, right? So I always, it's not uncommon for me to just go and I gotta go and put a screw up on on a ceiling or on a roof or something, and I got to go up on a ladder, and I got multiple tools on me, and I also have screws. Let's say this is a screw, right? This is a fishing arrowhead, but I'm just gonna make an example. So I'll just do this, and then I'll use this magnet and it's on there, right? So I could just go up there, get up there with my drill, hold on to what I need so I don't fall and die. And then I know that my screw, or in this case the arrowhead, is right there. And then I just grab it and go. So it's all there. So if I need to put it back, if I got, let's say it's the reverse and I take out a screw and I don't want to just drop it on the floor or put it in my pocket, which is going to make holes in it, which I do all the time. You just put it back on here, you're set. See, it's on there, right? And then the other thing that I do a lot is, especially like nowadays, as it's getting dark, we're going to into fall. It gets dark like at 5. So I'll have my flashlight, and I'll be, once again, I'm always working with multiple tools, doing multiple things at once. I'll have this flashlight, right? And this is just an Olight Warrior 2, I think. And yeah, I'll just use, it's got a magnetic feature. And so I'll be using it, and I got to put it down because I got to grab onto a tool or screws or whatever thing. I need both hands. I don't want to stick it in my mouth because, you know, I want to be comfortable while I'm working. And then I just stick it right on here, right? So it just sticks onto the washers. So always make sure there's 2 washers, and then it's on there, right? And so if I want to use this hands-free, right, and then I could just work down here, and the lights. So if you see, and the lights right here, right? So I'm working on stuff. I can see what I'm doing. So it holds a light. I don't got to put it in my mouth and my saliva is drooling over my workpiece, right? So it's right there. It's real convenient. And yeah, once again, see, it just goes on like that. Doesn't come off. It doesn't ruin my shirt. You see, there's no hole or no impression, even though it's a fairly substantial set of keys. And then you might be thinking, well, what if your buddies need the keys to the excavator? So what I do is the keys that I swap out with the guys all the time, I just put them on these little night eyes clips. You just go to Amazon or Walmart, they'll have them. Yeah, and I'll include links to everything I use here. Yeah, so you just take them off, and that's it. Yeah, so just quick release, and that's it. So once again, Mongol's Way, for me, it's the ultimate. It is the ultimate key holder, especially for us working men, you know, tradesmen that just got so many keys for their toolboxes and for their equipment and all these different keys, and it really helps out. So this thing's great. It's ultra universal, and like I said, great to hold everything. So hopefully, you know, this was helpful. Yeah, and this is just one of my sanity savers. You know, honestly, it's without it, like, yeah, without it, I go nuts. I'll lose my keys. I'll scratch up my phone. I will fumble through, you know, the 3 or 4 different tools I already have in my pocket to get to my keys. They'll be tangled up. Honestly, this is really like a game changer. It helps your daily life. Like it's the little things in your daily life that affects your entire day, and it affects your efficiency. For me, it's all about efficiency, and it's all about not carrying a whole bunch of different things if I don't have to. So hopefully this helps you out. Catch you in the next one, guys.